If you don't feel safe to try, you don't try. And if you don't try, you don't grow.
And I think what really stood out for me in SMU is that it gave me so many different opportunities, from CCAs to global exposure. I think the options and the experiences that we had were limitless.
That's exactly why I loved my 4 years at SMU. The opportunities we got, from overseas exchange programs to overseas internships to the business study missions to different countries. I went to Denmark, and the reason I chose Denmark, I just wanted to go somewhere as far away from Singapore as possible. Where did you go for your exchange?
In fact, I went to Sweden.
Oh wow,
pretty
right
close.
Next door.
Yeah, pretty close. And I think that it was one of the best times of my life, being able to spend 6 months in a very foreign and new environment, and yet it gave me so many new opportunities to learn more about myself as a person.
I think that's the beauty of these very foreign territories that people go to work or study in, because it tests your resilience.
I think being in that environment, it really allowed me to go beyond what I was comfortable with, as you said, and being able to learn laws from different countries and understand how they prioritize like children and human rights. That really allowed me to train myself to be someone who better understood who I was and what I stood for. I was in a band called Samba Masala. Have you heard of the band?
Yeah,
since
I have.
You've graduated.
I've heard of it, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so it's like an Afro-Brazilian percussion band. It's quite out of my comfort zone for me as well, because I've never had any music background, but I went there with the sole opportunity for me to meet people outside of law school.
You and I are very alike in that manner, because what I did while at SMU is to make sure I ventured out of what I'm comfortable doing, purposely to meet with as many different people as possible. And the reason for that is because when you go to the real world, that's what you have to face. All types of people. In my time, we didn't have that luxury of different schools. We had just one business school and 300 people. But I made it a point in every class to partner with different groups of people so that I get to meet as many different kinds of personalities.
I also went on to do competitions. Those are mediation and negotiation competitions where I could go overseas to compete, and at the same time I also did a lot of pro bono work. It started off as just a requirement that all SMU students would have to do community service, as you may be aware, but the more that I gained experience and exposure to pro bono work, the more I decided that actually this is something that I'm passionate about. What really kept me motivated to commit myself to various different activities while I was in SMU was exactly to test myself through different experiences. And I think that is important to me at the stage of university life, beyond just the classroom and beyond the grades.
How did SMU prepare me for the working world? I feel it gave me everything. Because what SMU does is it gives you the opportunity to really practice things that matter. These are things like presentation skills, the ability to convince, persuade, negotiate, the ability to work with people. Apart from these things, the room to experiment, the safe space to fail. If you don't feel safe to try, you don't try. And if you don't try, you don't grow.
I started to feel a lot more confident in being able to speak up my views in class through the class participation and group projects. And this allowed me to put myself out there and know when is the right time to speak, what to speak, and how to be, as you said, persuasive and yet humble at the same time.
I think in today's world, some of the most relevant skills we have are the people skills. And the people skills are what I feel SMU really develops us on, because it gives you the opportunity to interact not just with the students here, but exchange students, with the staff, with the faculty. And that's what I really took away from my university experience, which applies very much today. For people who are considering becoming a leader, I would say SMU would make a perfect choice.